Oh, hello, people of the internet. I made some stuff. Let's talk about it. Welcome or welcome back. For those who are new here, my name is Carla. I am one half of Dottie Dolt. I'm the half that makes all the Amigurumi stuff, and I like to talk about it, so we're here. Hopefully, you enjoy it too. The first pattern that we're going to talk about today is the one that won our Instagram stories, which is this little cutie duck here. It is the Frankenstein's monster duck, or Frankie for short. I'm going to go with Frankie because the other part is a mouthful. This little guy was adorable. If you want to check out one of the other ones that I made, I will link it above here, over there. Super cute. This one is the Frankenstein version. The pattern is from Woolie, I believe. Woolie Amigurumi. I'll put it above. So it's a 3-in-1 pattern because it's 3 ducks. They're kind of all like the bases are all the same, and then they just have like their variations. This one is their Frankenstein one, and then they do also have some free ones, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But this guy here, I wanted to first talk a little bit about the yarn because I've already gone into a bit more detail of like how the pattern was with the vampire duck. So this one I wanted to talk a little bit about the yarn that I used, and then we'll also talk about another variation that I made. So the yarn that I used a combination of the universal yarn and it's the universal Bella Chanel yarn, and then the Premier Parfait Chunky. I really like the universal yarn. I wish they had more colors. Like, they do have a lot of colors, don't get me wrong. I wish they had a few more. And I wish their yarn was a little bit cheaper, but it's also probably because it is a little bit better. I find that it doesn't split as much as the Premier Parfait. I find that the Premier Parfait, if you do your like magic ring or something like that, maybe a little tight, and sometimes even if you don't do it that tight, it just happens to grab or whatever, and then you end up with like the really like mangy spotty part of the yarn, and you're just like which is what was happening with me with some of these restocks that I did. Anyways, I digress. But the universal yarn, I don't find that happens as much. It still can happen if you get like a little too tight. But I find that it happens a lot less with it. I do have an order coming, so we'll do an unboxing when that comes, but I just don't know when that will be because there's been some issues with it. Like it's taking its long way around from the States to here, so it's doing a little road trip. It'll be a well-traveled box of yarn when it comes. But and I also, the universal, I've run out of it now, but the universal, their bright or like slimy green yarn that they have is, it's just so pretty. It's just a little bit deeper. So, because this one here is the Premier Parfait, which is a nice green, like, don't get me wrong, but I find that it has a bit too much of a cast of like white to it, so it kind of like, oh, what's the word? Dolls. That's the word I was thinking of. But no, one eternity later. Word I was thinking about. Dull. There we go. Sometimes I tell you, sitting in front of my screen and I just boop. Anyways, so I do find that does have a tendency to happen with some of their colors, is that it just kind of gets a little dull because like there's like a small cast of white or something that's in it that like just makes the color not pop as much. And I know on camera this looks really dark, but it's a really nice like deep rich purple. And then all the other colors that I used in this, so it's just the universal is just the purple one at the bottom, which I know looks a little dark, and then it looks kind of a little washed out when it gets close. But I do I felted his eyes, and I'm really happy with that decision. What I did this time with felting his eyes is that I took a light gray, and I like traced out where I wanted his eyes to be before putting in the felt, which is something that I should probably always do, but a lot of the time I'm like, just wing it. I should know by now, winging it is not the best way, but I'm really happy with the way that his eyes turned out, and they also look very soulless, which makes me so happy. So happy. The little neck bolts were super easy to do, and then he has his little stitchy line there, which is just perfect. I'm happy with the way that his beak turned out. Yeah, really happy with the way that this worked out. I also figured out how to sew on the butt. I just didn't read things well enough. / I feel like it was just like a matter of doing it. For me, anyways. Other people might have been like, me look at the pattern where the tail is, and you're like, oh yeah, it's totally supposed to do that. I just didn't see the add tail part. I don't know. Maybe it just needed to be on big neon letters or something. It is what it is. But yeah. 10 out of 10, would definitely recommend, and I'm getting used to Ribbler, and I really like the way that their patterns are laid out on there. I really like that. I mean, it also depends on the designer as well, if they stick in the pictures or not, but for at least the Woolie, I think I'm saying their name right. I'm sorry if I'm not. At least with their patterns, like there are a lot of pictures, which is great, and it's nice to be able to click on them. So that makes me really happy. The next pattern that I wanted to talk about is this little guy. So this one is a mod to the other duck pattern. They're Woolies, so it's still Woolie. I'm really sorry if I'm saying their name wrong. I'll put it above. Anyways, so this one is a free mod that's on their Instagram, so you can go and check it out. You do need to either have the duck pattern, because there is just like a regular duck pattern, or you need to have the horror monster ducks. Halloween ducks. I think it's called Halloween ducks. So you need to have either one of those patterns to be able to do this, because it just in the Instagram thing, it just gives you the mods. It won't give you anything else, which is fine. So you just have to have the two patterns open, and then you kind of bounce back and forth. So this, I used a combination because I kind of thought it was really like, it was kind of cool. I used a combination of the universal yarn for the green and the pink for his brains, and then on the bottom is all the Premier Parfait. So I really like how the differences of the yarn kind of showed up. It worked out really well. I just had like a little bit of the universal green left, and like you can see the difference between the two, so I couldn't really put like the universal with the Premier Parfait like together in another pattern. It just wouldn't work quite as well. But I feel like for a zombie duck, it kind of works okay, because you're like, well, that's just he's just losing his like green feathers. I don't know. Anyways, so the yellow and the green is Premier Parfait, and then the bottom gray color is Loops and Threads. I think it's called Fog. It kind of has like, it looks gray, but it also kind of has like a bit of a green cast to it. So I figured that it worked out really well with the whole duck thing. And then the brains are super cute. I like that they're like popping out of the head. With the brains, you are supposed to just do like a slip stitch. But I kind of like that they were like popping out more, so I just went with like a single crochet. And then also we have our glow in the dark eyes, which are awesome. They glow so well. When I was sitting there and crocheting, Spider Dad looked over and he was like, "Whoa, those eyes are glowing." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" Because I had looked at something else and he was just looking at the eyes, and the eyes were just glowing because I had my headlamp on. Because I just can't see anything otherwise. I have my headlamp on, and yeah, I was just like supercharging them with the headlamp, so like the eyes were just like blah, which was awesome. But yeah, so this one is a free mod on her Instagram page. I don't know if it's on, I don't even know if she has a Facebook. I'm sure she does. Maybe she doesn't. I don't know. But anyways, it is on Instagram, so you can go check it out there. The little wings are super cute because you switch the color. And yeah, I think it worked out really well. I'm really happy to talk about today before I leave you all for the week is I've been working on trying to do a little bit of a like restock, which is not something that I'm used to doing. I'm gonna be honest with you. I generally make like a pattern once or twice and then I'm like, I'm good. I can move on from that. Because with our business, we sell like a whole bunch of things. We sell earrings, we sell obviously amigurumis. We also sell a lot of like felt shapes and stuff like that, and toques and earwarmers and stuff in like the winter time. So like toques and earwarmers, I understand I need to make a lot of the same thing. I'm okay with that. But with a lot of our amigurumis, I've really gotten into a habit of just like I said, just making one or two and then moving on to something else. But I've been really trying to figure out like what works well for us, what sells really well for us. Octopuses and like loaf cats. If you're not familiar. Loaf cat. He's a little loaf. Very loafy. And he has a butt. Anyways, so these kinds of things sell really well for us. Generally, whenever I have them at markets, at least, if not all of them, most of them sell out. So it's something that I've been really trying to focus on, which because of my, I make one pattern and then move on to something else. It does make it difficult to figure out, well, will this product sell well? Will it not sell well? For our first market of the year, I made a whole bunch of loaf cats and I made a whole bunch of octopuses. And like pretty much within the first day, like most of them were all sold out. I think actually almost all of our loaf cats sold out in one day, which was awesome. But so looking at the data behind that, I'm like, oh, I actually need to make sure that I'm focusing on like, if I want to make one-off thing, then cool. But then I need to make sure that I'm like restocking the same things, which I know for like people that like do a lot of markets, they're probably really used to that. They're like, yeah, of course you need to make the things that sell. That makes sense. But for like the newcomer people, or for the people that are like me that get distracted very easily, it's something that like I feel like does need to be said, is like, it is like, if you see that like once you make one of these or whatever, or make a couple of them and they sell, like just keep an eye on it. Maybe you need to make more of that one in that color, or you need to make more of that design in different colors, or whatever it might be, or like consistently have one or two of the same color because they sell well. Especially if you're looking for things to sell at markets, like octopuses generally sell fairly well. Loaf cats also sell really well. You can do lots of cute things with your setup, like, have a little cardboard box that's like, adopt me. All of those things work really well. But it's coming to those realizations of where you're like, oh, ha. Just the thought of the day, it is what it is. But anyways, if you want to see more of my face, Click on the videos above and you can see more of Crafting Chronicles, and I'll talk to you later. Okay, bye.